The stars stretched far and wide across the Orion-packed training zone, a glittering field of silent giants and sleek, fast ships. Warships from over 100 alien civilizations hovered in perfect formation. They shined like blades, humming with the power of advanced technology. Each was built for speed, precision, and destruction. Then the horizon arrived. It didn't hum, it groaned. The ship moved slowly through space, her metal frame thick and practical, without the elegant curves or glowing hulls of her alien counterparts. Earth's only warship, older, heavier, and without even a warp shimmer, looked like it belonged in a scrapyard, not a military showcase. Alien commanders watched from their view screens as the human ship entered the sector. "Is that a cargo freighter?" one whispered. "No," said another, with a chuckle. "That's the human entry. That thing." Laughter followed. Some mocked it openly on the inter-ship comms. A few pretended not to laugh, but their grins were clear. Inside the horizon, the crew heard every word. Most of them stayed silent, eyes on their consoles. A few officers shifted uncomfortably. The bridge was quiet except for the soft beeping of instruments. Commander Alex Voss stood at the front of the bridge, arms behind his back, his face calm. His uniform was simple, his posture straight. He didn't respond to the mockery. He didn't have to. He had heard it all before. "Status?" he asked, voice even. "We're docked at Grid Alpha," said Lieutenant Mara Lin. "All systems green, weapons online, shields holding, no response from the council ships yet." Voss nodded. "Good. Maintain position." Another officer, Ensign Cooper, glanced back nervously. "Sir, should we send a formal introduction? Let them know we're ready to participate." Voss looked at the display of alien ships swirling in complex drills. Fighters darted between capital ships like insects, each one faster than anything Earth had ever built. "No," Voss said. "They already know we're here. Let them finish showing off." Behind him, some crew members smiled, tension easing a little. Outside the bridge, the horizon drifted slowly, a wall of steel in a sky full of arrows. Other ships looped around her, firing in synchronized drills, slicing through space like art in motion. The human ship remained still, like a rock in a river. "Commander Voss," came a new voice across the open comms, a sleek, accented tone belonging to Admiral Rax, a Centauri fleet leader. "Your vessel is blocking the drill zone." "She's not moving very fast," added a second voice from the Varnak Empire. "Or at all." Voss pressed the comm button with a single tap. "We weren't planning to." The silence on the other end was brief, then came a chuckle. "Ah, of course. Earth tactics. Stay still and pray." Voss cut the channel without another word. Lieutenant Lin turned to him. "Sir, should we reposition?" "No," he said. "We'll hold here. They'll get bored eventually." Lin nodded. She had served under Voss long enough to trust his stillness. It wasn't fear, it was calculation. Later that day, the Orion Council broadcast instructions to begin Phase 1 of the joint training exercise. All fleets were to take positions and prepare for mock combat. The Horizon received its assignment last, an outer ring position, far from the core action. It was an insult, clear to everyone, a way to keep the slow ship out of the way. Still, Voss gave the order, "Proceed to coordinates." No rush, the ship moved, engines burning steady blue. No sudden jumps, no flashy turns. Alien scouts zoomed past. One even flew a circle around them, just to prove it could. Inside the Horizon, no one laughed. They were used to it. They'd been the punchline for years. Voss stood silent on the bridge, watching the stars, watching the formations, studying the dance. "They think this is a race," he murmured. "But war isn't about who gets there first. It's about who's left standing." His crew said nothing. But in the quiet that followed, something shifted. A feeling small but steady, that maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't be the joke for much longer. The Orion Pact's training zone lit up as hundreds of warships moved into their starting positions. Alien fleets formed flawless lines, their ships gleaming like blades of light. The drills had begun. Massive screens across the zone displayed rankings and speed metrics in real time. Ship names scrolled by: Varnek Reaper, Ing Centauri Flamewing, Athlon Stormshard, each racing through obstacle fields, pulling tight turns, firing perfect simulated shots. And somewhere at the bottom of the screen, human warship, Horizon, no score, no movement, just a blinking dot, slow and steady. The mockery returned almost instantly. Are their engines powered by steam? One voice joked on an open frequency. Maybe they're sightseeing. Another laughed. The Horizon continued forward, slow and straight like a freighter lost in the wrong part of space. But inside, Commander Alex Voss was focused. He didn't care about rankings. He was watching patterns. Overlay all fleet maneuvers, he ordered. Lieutenant Lin brought up the holographic map. Dozens of ships moved in swirling paths. They were fast, but predictable. Voss narrowed his eyes. They all follow the same logic, he said. Speed first, power second. No flexibility. Ensign Cooper leaned forward. Sir, they're fast, Voss said. But they all train for the same kind of battle. They don't expect anything different. He paused. That's dangerous. The training continued for hours. Fleets split and reformed. Weapons were fired in precise patterns, beams dancing across space in a deadly simulation. Drones were deployed. Decoys were tested. Even boarding procedures were rehearsed with artificial pods. The Horizon was told to perform a basic patrol around the edge of the zone, a polite way of saying, stay out of the way. But Voss used the time differently. Run full sensor sweeps, he ordered. All quadrants, look for movement beyond the field. Looking for enemy ships, Cooper asked. No, I'm looking for mistakes. As the ship drifted through the outer rim, Lieutenant Lin suddenly frowned at her console. Sir, I've got some strange data in Sector 7. Define strange. Power readings. Faint but sharp, like stealth drives. Are we near a cloaked testing zone? No, sir. It's clear space. No exercises assigned there. Voss stepped closer. Save the readings. Keep scanning. Quietly. Lin nodded. She knew that look in Voss's eyes. It wasn't fear. It was the kind of sharp awareness that came right before a storm. Back in the training zone, the alien fleets completed their exercises with high scores. Celebrations buzzed over private channels. Commanders praised each other's speed and precision. No one paid attention to the human ship still crawling around the outskirts. Later that evening, a meeting of fleet captains was broadcast across the Orion Pact's network. The top scorers spoke with pride. Admiral Rax of the Centauri stood with his usual smirk. We're honored to train beside the best, he said. And of course, Earth's contribution adds a certain charm. Laughter followed. When it was Voss's turn to speak, he stepped into the projection circle. His image was sent across dozens of fleet bridges. He said only this: we are not here to impress. We are here to learn, and when needed, to fight. Silence followed. Some captains exchanged amused glances. Others turned off the feed entirely. Back on the Horizon, Ensign Cooper sat with his head low. They don't take us seriously, sir. Voss looked out the viewing window. Stars blinked softly beyond. Then we're exactly where we want to be, he said. Let them believe we're no threat. He turned and walked toward the bridge doors. Because when the real fight comes, they won't see us coming. Far away in Sector 7, the faint signal blinked again, stronger this time. Unmarked, silent, waiting. The stars were quiet when the first real shot was fired. At first it seemed like another drill. A sudden flash on the far side of the training zone. A simulated blast, perhaps. Then came the soundless ripple of a real explosion, brilliant, sharp, and unmistakably violent. On the Horizon's bridge, alarms flared to life. Explosion detected. Sector 5, Lieutenant Lin shouted. That wasn't simulated, that was real. Commander Alex Voss stood instantly. Visuals, now. The screen lit up with a wide-angle view of Sector 5. Where minutes ago a dozen ships from the Orion Pact had been running drills, now only wreckage remained. Fire and twisted metal drifted through space, slow and aimless. A second flash, closer, another ship gone, and then the voice came. "This is High Admiral Threx Ver of the Tharn Dominion." It boomed across all channels, cold and full of pride. "The training is over. The false unity of this pact ends now. The Tharn will no longer bow to the weak or slow. This galaxy belongs to the strong." Vaza's jaw tightened. The Tharn fleet, once disguised as training vessels, was now fully revealed. Sharp black warships uncloaked in perfect formation, their weapons charged and pointed at the scattered, unprepared fleets. Panic broke across the channels. Captains shouted orders. Some tried to flee. Others tried to return fire. But they weren't armed for a real war. Their weapons were at half power, shields down. They had come to train, not to fight. "They were set up," Vaz muttered. "We all were, sir," Ensign Cooper said. "Pale, we're outside their net. They haven't moved on us yet." "Not yet," Vaz said. "But they will." He stepped to the center of the bridge. "All stations, battle ready. Full power to shields and weapons. Lock every system." "Horizon is fully armed, sir," Lynn confirmed. "We're combat ready." "And everyone else?" Vaz asked. Lynn looked at her screen. Her voice dropped. "Most of them are disabled or destroyed. The survivors are scattered. They're not regrouping." A red dot flashed on her screen. Then another, and another. The Tharn ships were spreading, targeting one fleet at a time. They were moving fast, methodical and merciless. "They're headed for Earth next," Vaz said quietly. "Should we retreat?" Cooper asked. "We could warn the home fleet." "No," Vaz said. "If we run, they'll follow. Earth has no time." He turned back to his crew. "We stand here, between them and home." The crew was silent. Not one argued. Outside the ship, the horizon turned slowly, its nose facing the oncoming threat. It looked small and alone, a blocky shadow against the stars. But inside, the ship came alive, weapons charged, shields locked into place. The engine hummed low and deep, steady like a drumbeat. A message came through from a surviving ex-Centauri captain. Voice panicked. "Human ship, fall back. You won't survive a direct engagement." Vaz responded calmly. "Acknowledged. We'll hold." He ended the channel. "They still think we're too slow to matter," Cooper said. "Good," Vaz replied. "They'll never expect what comes next." From the front window, they saw Tharn ships turning toward them. At least 10, maybe more. "Battle group approaching," Lynn confirmed. "ETA 4 minutes. Vaz gave his first real command of the war. "Power the forward guns. We aim for their leader first." The crew moved quickly. Every hand steady, every system engaged. Outside, the galaxy watched in disbelief. The slow, outdated human ship was the last one standing between the enemy and Earth. And it wasn't moving aside. The Tharn ships closed in, their dark hulls cutting through the stars like knives. There were 12 of them, fast, heavily armed, and designed for overwhelming force. They moved in a tight V formation, ready to crush the lone human ship in one swift blow. On board the horizon, no one panicked. There was no shouting, no fear, just the steady hum of power, the quiet clicks of buttons, and the calm voice of Commander Alex Voss. "Bring us to drift position," he said. "Drift, sir?" Ensign Cooper asked, surprised. "Cut the engines. Let us float." Lieutenant Lynn blinked. "Won't that make us a sitting target?" "They already think we are," Voss replied. "Let's make it look real." The engines powered down. The horizon slowed to a crawl, then seemed to go dead, just a hunk of metal in space. No thrust, no movement. But inside, the trap was being set. "Deploy mines across our rear arc," Voss ordered. "Pattern Delta 3, and scatter the signal drones." The crew moved quickly. Plasma mines, silent and invisible, dropped behind the ship like breadcrumbs. Signal drones spread out in random directions, mimicking engine flares and hull signatures. "Activate the jamming field," Voss continued. "Low frequency only. Make it messy." The ship began sending out quiet waves of interference, just enough to confuse enemy sensors, not enough to alert them it was intentional. From the outside, the horizon looked helpless. Inside, it was a ticking weapon. The Tharn fleet approached fast. 2 minutes to engagement, Lin said. They're targeting our midsection. They think they can break us in one pass. They probably can, Cooper muttered. Voss looked at him. They'll try. That's their mistake. The enemy ship split into 3 groups. The lead ship, larger than the others, came straight for the center. 2 flanking wings spread wide, trying to box horizon in. Standard crush formation. Voss waited. Hold fire, he said. The Tharn lead ship charged forward, weapon banks glowing red. Its captain, sure of victory, didn't even slow down. Wait, Voss whispered. 30 seconds, Lin called. The enemy was almost in range. Voss narrowed his eyes. Now, the horizon's guns lit up, not forward, but to the sides and rear. Plasma blasts ripped through space. The signal drones, placed earlier, confused the flanking Tharn ships, tricking them into firing at empty space. The mines exploded as the wings moved into position. 2 enemy ships were hit instantly, their shields torn apart. A third lost control and spun into the blast zone, vanishing in fire. 3 down, Cooper said. Stunned. 7 to go, Voss replied. The lead ship now saw the danger and slowed, but too late. The horizon fired everything it had forward. Not fast shots, but heavy, slow-charging rounds, built for damage, not speed. The first slug hit the Tharn's front shield, cracking it. The second ripped through its left engine. The third hit the bridge. The enemy ship stopped moving. It didn't explode. It simply went dark. They've lost command, Lin said. The remaining Tharn ships hesitated. This wasn't going according to plan. The slow ship wasn't dying. It was fighting back and winning. They'll regroup, Voss said. They'll come in smarter next time. He turned back to the map. Send a pulse to the surviving packed ships. Tell them to move toward our position, slowly. Stay hidden in our jamming field. You're pulling them back, Cooper asked. We're not just bait, Voss said. We're a shield. 1 by 1, damaged ships began drifting toward the horizon, hiding behind its larger body and signal field. Voss gave them cover, forcing the Tharn fleet to choose between chasing small targets or facing him again. Most backed off. 1 tried a fast loop, but was caught in the edge of a minefield and vaporized. The crew watched, stunned. They weren't just surviving, they were holding the line. Outside, the wreckage of 6 Tharn ships floated in silence. Fires burned, debris drifted, and for the first time the enemy slowed down. They're not sure what we'll do next, Lin said. Good, Voss said. Keep them guessing. He stepped away from the console, calm as ever. We're slow, he said. But we're not stupid, and we're not running. The stars held their breath. The battle wasn't over, but the tide had begun to turn. The battlefield drifted in eerie silence. Burning hulls floated in the dark. The shattered remains of Tharn ships, torn by plasma and mines, spun slowly in zero gravity. The once confident enemy fleet now hovered at a distance, holding formation, hesitant to move closer to the horizon. On the human ship's bridge, Commander Alex Voss stood motionless, eyes fixed on the tactical display. Red enemy markers blinked in a rough semicircle around them. 6 Tharn warships remained, wounded, but still dangerous. They've stopped advancing, Lieutenant Lin said. Looks like they're waiting. They're regrouping, Voss replied. They know we're not an easy kill anymore. Ensign Cooper turned from his station. Sir, the other packed ships are falling in behind us. Varnik, Centauri, and 3 Athlon cruisers. Their systems are damaged, but they can still fire. Not enough, Voss said. Threk still has more firepower. If he breaks through us, Earth is next. Silence fell on the bridge. Everyone knew what came next. Voss tapped a button, and a deep, pulsing sound filled the air. The hum of the main engine core powering up for something unusual. The lights dimmed. Consoles shifted into emergency mode. Commander, Lin's voice was quiet. What are you doing? We're going to end this, Voss said. Right here. He looked at his crew. We have one move left that can cripple Threx's fleet, but it comes with a price. Lin frowned. What kind of price? We're going to override the safety locks and overload our core. Controlled ignition. A focused shockwave. enough to knock out Threx's flagship. You're turning the Horizon into a bomb? Cooper asked, stunned. Not a bomb, Voss said. A statement. The crew fell silent. No one argued. They knew Voss. He didn't make reckless choices. If he was doing this, it meant there was no other way. Begin the override sequence, he ordered. Lynn and Cooper nodded, fingers moving across their consoles. Alarms triggered in the lower decks. The core, normally quiet and contained, now surged with light and sound. A countdown began. 10 minutes until critical surge. On the outer screen, Threx's flagship moved forward. He's coming, Lynn said. They're lining up for a final attack. Good, Voss replied. Let them come closer. The Tharn fleet advanced again, this time slower, more cautious, but they still believed their size and speed would win. No one had ever used a human ship as a weapon like this. 5 minutes to core overload, Cooper called out. Target the flagship, Voss said. Fire non-lethal blasts. Draw them in, make them chase us. The Horizon released a series of long-range pulse shots, not enough to destroy, but enough to provoke. Threx took the bait. 2 enemy ships breaking off, Lynn said. They're coming straight for us. The Horizon turned slowly, retreating on purpose, keeping its path direct. Like prey running from a predator, the Tharn ships followed. Faster, aggressive. Bring the others into range, Voss said. Tell them to aim at anything that tries to flank us. Just hold the line. We'll do the rest. Behind the Horizon, the damaged packed ships formed a loose screen. They weren't fast, but they were ready. Together they looked like a wall of wounded warriors, holding on, ready to fight. Core overload in 90 seconds, Cooper said. The flagship was now fully in range. Voss took a deep breath. Arm the release valve. Focus the blast toward Sector 9A, direct vector, minimum fallout. Ready, Lynn confirmed. The enemy fleet was right where he wanted them. Now, Voss said. The core released. A blinding light burst from the Horizon's engine section. Silent but massive. A cone of energy blasted forward, sweeping across the vacuum like a solar wave. The shock hit Threx's flagship directly, overloading its systems in seconds. Sparks exploded across its hull. Power drained. Weapons shut down. The ship spun out of control. Around it, 2 more Tharn vessels were caught in the edge of the blast. Their engines flared, then died. The rest of the fleet froze. On the bridge of the Horizon, systems flickered. Smoke curled from vents. Power levels dropped to critical. We've lost half our control functions, Lynn said. Cooling systems failing. We're dead in the water. But we're alive, Cooper said, wide-eyed. It worked. Voss stood still, watching the enemy ships drift away. They're not attacking anymore, Lynn said. No, Voss replied. They've had enough. Across the battlefield, the remaining Tharn ships began to retreat. One by one, they turned and jumped to warp, broken, beaten, and afraid of what more this slow ship might do. Cheers erupted from the comm channels as the other packed ships watched Threx flee. Ships that once mocked Earth now sent signals of respect. The name Horizon flashed on every command screen. We held the line, Cooper whispered. Voss gave a small nod. And we're still standing. The stars were quiet again, but this time, they weren't watching a joke. They were watching a legend. The stars over the Orion Pact training zone were calm again. The echoes of war faded into silence. Wreckage floated gently across space. Blackened metal, broken wings, shattered pride. But in the center of it all, one ship still stood. The Horizon drifted slowly, lights flickering, systems strained. Its hull was scorched, and half of its sensors were offline. But it was intact, alive, still holding position where others had fallen. Inside, the bridge was quiet. Commander Alex Voss sat in his chair, his face pale from exhaustion. Smoke lingered in the air. Panels sparked. The ship groaned as cooling systems worked overtime. His uniform was stained with dust and sweat, but he hadn't left the bridge. Lieutenant Lynn leaned over her console. No more enemy signals. The Tharn fleet has gone to warp. We've cleared the zone. Ensign Cooper added, incoming transmission from the Orion Council. They want to speak with you, sir. Voss nodded. Put them through. A hologram blinked to life in the center of the bridge. It showed a large chamber with leaders from dozens of alien worlds. Some wore ceremonial robes, others stood in full armor, and at the center was High Speaker Orion Tal, leader of the Orion Pact. Commander Alex Voss, the speaker said, voice steady but different now, no longer dismissive. You've done what no one expected. You've held the line against a superior enemy. On behalf of the Pact, we owe you our thanks. Voss stood, slow and calm. We didn't come for thanks, he said. We came to serve. Earth may be new to your alliance, but we're not new to survival. We don't win with speed. We win by standing firm when it counts. The chamber fell silent, then applause. First soft, then stronger. One by one, captains who once laughed at the horizon now gave their respect. Some saluted. Others bowed their heads. From the comm channels, messages poured in. Honor to the horizon. Respect to the humans. Captain Voss, we misjudged you. The crew on the horizon heard it all. They looked at each other, bruised, tired, but smiling now. They had been mocked, dismissed, ignored. But they had stood their ground. They had saved the Pact. Commander Lin said quietly, they've issued a formal request. They want to rename this sector. They're calling it Voss Line. Voss gave a small smile. I don't need a name. Cooper chuckled. Too late, sir. It's already trending across the galactic network. Outside, the repair ships began to arrive. Drone teams swarmed to the horizon, patching holes and restoring systems. Medical shuttles docked. Supplies were delivered. The wounded were cared for. And slowly life returned to the battered battlefield. Later, as the ship floated over Earth's orbit, Commander Voss stood alone at the observation window. The blue planet shimmered below. Safe behind him, Lin stepped forward. Sir, the Council's sending medals. Honors, they want to promote you. Voss didn't turn. Let them. You're a hero now, she said. No, he said softly. I'm a soldier who did his job. She stood beside him in silence, looking down at Earth. The others never saw it coming, she said. They never needed to, he replied. That's the strength of being overlooked. The quiet ones, we're always the last surprise. The lights dimmed. The stars stretched across the window once more. The slowest ship had become the most dangerous. The man they mocked had become the one they remembered.